Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Silent Man Podcast. I'm your host, Javier Talamantes. Thank you once again for allowing us into I don't even know how to say it. It's like just allowing me to be of service to you, as men in need of support, in some cases guidance, in some cases listening ear. And just, for just allowing this opportunity for me to be able to share with you experiences that I've had in my own life of everything that you can imagine under the sun. So, one of the most powerful, I don't know if that's the way to say it, but something that triggered for me to go ahead and actually start the Silent Man podcast was I kept hearing men's cry for help, and the only way I can describe it is maybe I've got a gift, maybe I've got an intuitive sense, maybe I'm not sure what it is. But I'm able to look at other men and be able to see almost vividly the pain that they're suffering, and it could be anything. It could be financial pain. It could be emotional pain. It could be, pain from when they were kids. It could be pain from recent occurrences. It could be pain from a recent death of a family member, in some cases a matriarch or maybe a father of the family, and so when I'm walking throughout my day in life, and I'm just watching people. I watch people. I'm a watcher. I'm always constantly just watching people, just to see like the quirkiness of what they're doing, or it could be something that just grabs my attention and I gravitate towards them, and then I just kind of, sometimes from afar, sometimes from not too far away, but I get this sense that a lot of men feel like loneliness, right? And this loneliness it's almost like it's amplified, and you've got to you've almost got to close your eyes and just listen to my voice, and I can walk you through what it looks like. So, I ask everyone, if you close your eyes, that's watching this episode, and let me walk you through this gift that I have, and how I see somebody, right? So the other day I was watching, I was going about my day, and then I'm at a grocery store, and I'm walking around, and I just kind of was just paying attention to mostly the men, just to see, especially now that I'm more in tune with, okay, this is the work that I want to do, and almost think of it like research, right? And I'm doing this research. So I'm just kind of watching men and just watching, the things that they do, or how their mannerisms are, or, in some cases how they're dressed, or some cases how they carry themselves, and I kind of focused in on one individual, and it was the weirdest thing. I just kind of felt this sadness, right? And even their shoulders were almost like kind of slumped over, and so the way I do it is I kind of get into their vicinity, not in their personal space, but just in their vicinity. It could be maybe 5-6 feet away. And think of it almost like an antenna, right? You've got a signal because you're so far away from the antenna, and I started just kind of looking inside this person, and then there's this deep pain in this in like it within them. And so I started doing work, right? And that's what I call basically just trying to figure out what's going on with them, and not necessarily to heal them, but just to get a sense of what men are out there, going through life with. Think of it like a weight, right? Like we've, you know, in other episodes I've talked about the trash bag, right? That, as we go through life, we're picking up all these different things from all these different people, and in some cases, somebody was robbed and they took all their money, so then that becomes part of, they were wronged, and or something else, and next thing you know, you got this humongous just trash bag that's just not only trash, but it's also, and it's not yours, it's somebody else's, but it's also weight, right? And that's where you start getting that slumping feeling, right? And you get that feeling of overwhelmness. And so I'm working with this person and I'm trying to figure out what's going on, and I'm trying to figure out like where did this come from? And so I'm reaching into like virtually like kind of reaching in and just kind of starting to pull things out, right? Think about it like the last episode that we did with the junkyard. And so I start sifting through some of the stuff that's going on, and I start just kind of kicking things out, and then I find it, right? I find it, and it goes back to his childhood, and it was something that like something that his parents would say to him over and over and over again, which was like, "Oh, you're such a dumb kid. Like, you don't get it. Like, why can't you be like, why can't you be like your cousins? Like, And then I started seeing more and more, and as I was pulling more of this stuff out, I kept, getting the feel that that's where it began. That was the source of it. So I'm working, right? I'm doing the work. And I keep pulling stuff out. Think of it like like a groundhog, pulling out the dirt, and or think about like something like a rabbit, right? Just burrowing into a hole and just basically getting everything that shouldn't be in there out of there. And so I keep doing the work with this guy, and then I started thinking about the program, right? The program that was running him, and the guy looked maybe early 30s, and he already had this this crazy program that he wasn't good enough, that that he had shortcomings, that that his life, he wasn't where he wanted to be in life. And he was comparing himself to others, because nowadays we have social media, and social media basically, pits one person against another, and is basically, if I got a better car and you don't got a car, or you got a crappy car, basically I'm better than you. But we're not looking behind that, right? And looking behind, let's say, the curtain, it's like then we see that the person with the shiny new car also has a payment. And if he's got a payment, he's also got, additional expenses that are going to require him to have to earn more money in order to be able to support that vehicle as well. So, I started, as I'm continuing to work with this guy at this, random, grocery store. I started putting these other things in, right? Like, hey, don't believe that you're not good enough. Actually, you're amazing. You're successful. You're loved. You make other people in your life happy by you being in their life. And I just kept pouring all these positive things, into this person. And believe me, guys, I don't know this person, and I don't know if it's exactly what he needed or he didn't need, but in my mind, and the way I felt, and what the energy that I was feeling, it's exactly what needed to be put back in. And so what I did was I took all that stuff out, all the stuff that didn't really serve him, and I was taking it and I was putting it in that trash bag. Remember that trash bag, guys, right? All the bad stuff goes into that trash bag. The only difference between, let's say, me and somebody else that's just picking up random, we'll call it crap, random crap from other people, right? Their stories and, their shortcomings and everything else. I'm able to dissipate it by basically taking all that and then just being able to just, toss it out and getting rid of it, and basically it doesn't exist anymore. So, everything that I'm telling you right now, time lapse, it was microseconds, right? That I'm doing this. And so then after I was done and I kind of had taken a lot of the stuff that this guy was walking around with, I approached him and I said, "Hey." And he looked at me like, "Yeah?" I said, "Hey, how are you today?" And he says, I'm feeling better." I said, "Really? Like, do you mind if I ask you, like, what's going on?" And he says, "Man, I was just having the most terrible day. Everything was just going wrong, It was just one thing after another. And then next, it's just like, it's almost like if like everything just, like, not fixed itself, but everything was okay. And I was able to start just taking care of working on one thing at a time." And so I'm having this conversation with him, right? And he says, why'd you ask me that?" And I said, "I don't know. It just seemed like you were just, like, I was looking at you and it just seemed like you were going through something. And it just seemed like, to me, like you needed somebody to just, like, what would be the word? It's not to edify. It would be more to, like, it's to acknowledge the person. That's exactly what I wanted to say. It's almost like acknowledging that he is a person. He does matter, and he does have problems just like the rest of us. And he said, "Man, you know what?" He said, I don't know what it is, but man, I feel energy, like I feel positive energy from you. Like you're tall, like you got this great smile, like you make me feel really comfortable to be able to just kind of, talk with you." And I said, "No, I appreciate that. I just wanted, like I said, I just felt like, you needed somebody just to let you know that it's okay. Like, that we're all here and we're all going through it. And what better way than to go through it together, right? And to acknowledge each other and be able to say, it's happening to all of us, right? It's not isolated to just one person." So the reason I told you that story, and you guys can open your eyes if by possibility any of you did close them, I tell that story because that's how I go through life, right? And I think before, when I was, working on my companies, and I was just taking care of me, right? And by taking care of me, I was taking care of my loved ones. I was taking care of my family. I was being like, the nucleus, right? Just us, right? Like, think about it like this table, right? It's just us that fit in this table and no one else. But I always had that gift of, even in business, being able to utilize it in business by opening up doors and with people that possibly other people couldn't have. Getting into circles where other people couldn't, and always being able to be one step ahead of, things that were going on around us. So, that's what kind of awoke in me that I needed to be of service. Like, I just couldn't go through life anymore just being, just for team Javier, I had a bigger team out there, and that's all of you men that are going through the same things that, I'm going through. And, and it was like, I'm not the type that I have many friends. I'm not the type that have. I've been very independent. I don't really need anybody to, give me to edification, or let me know that I'm doing a great job, or or look up to me or anything. I've never been someone like that. As a matter of fact, I've always wanted to give support, and and words of advice, and and words of encouragement, and being positive, and and never really wanting to listen to people's stories, because I always felt like if I listened to someone's story, then I was making it okay for them to be living that story in real life, right? And I always felt like I don't want to listen to your story. I want to help you, build another story. Or in this case, let's go ahead and stop that program, that you're not good enough, that you're this, you're that, and let's create this new program. And the way it would look, guys, is simple, right? Think of it like there's this tube, right? And inside the tube is that program that's running you. And it's closed on the ends, on both ends it's closed. And so this tube is not allowing for anything else to be in that place other than what you've already got predetermined in your mind. So the way I look at things is we introduce this new tube and we connect it with the tube that you've already got. And now this new program is literally going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And it's creating this new way of being. And by doing that, once think of it like, holding on to one thing and reaching out for another. Like, we know that that's all about fear, right? You don't want to let go of what you have because maybe even though it's not the best, you're not willing to take the risk of reaching out for something new that could better your life and could make you a better version of yourself. So, once this new program kicks in, and guys, I'm telling you right now, the new program kicks in exactly when you need it to, exactly when you want it to. And it's exactly when you make the choice to think about it like almost like burning the bridge, right? You burn the bridge of the old program and you adapt to the new program. And the new program, it could take you minutes, it could take you hours, it could take you days, it could take you years. It's up to you, But based off of my experiences, when I've introduced, even now, creating this podcast, the Silent Man podcast, creating the Silent Man Manifesto, creating all these amazing programs like the buddy system, like the events that we're going to have, which is going to be the Silent Man support circles, right? Virtual and in person. The different systems that we're introducing, where we're giving them to you for tools to put in your toolbox and to be able to be used whenever you need them. And then also the strong support system that we'll have within all the men that choose to be part of the Silent Man. And so, these are all gifts, guys. And so we need to realize that, this isn't a hierarchy thing, right? It's not the top of the food chain. It's got less problems than the person that's barely, making ends meet. It doesn't work like that. This is a man thing. And once we understand that, look at exactly what I did. Here and here. So you got both ends of the spectrum. Once you get them to collaborate, look, they're equals. And that's what we want everyone to go ahead and understand, that we are all going through this, all walks of life, all, basically races and everything. We're all going through this in one way, shape, or form. And sometimes because we're in it, we don't understand how to get out of it, because we can't think of it like a reflection, right? Without having that reflection of what you look like when you're going through things, like grimacing, or or sad or happy, or like you don't know that emotion is happening other than in your mind. But if you ask anyone around you, hey, what does my being look like to you? Your being is exactly the same, exactly the way it sounds. Your being is all about what? What you're emulating, what you're radiating, right? What your energy looks like. And so if if you're going through something, you're not going to be able to see that. It's like you can't see the same reflection because you're living it. So, if you want to go ahead and do an amazing exercise, choose 10 people in your life, choose 10 men. In some cases, you can even choose some women, and just ask them, hey, what's my being? How am I coming off to you, right? What's my energy? You can ask them any questions like that. So I just want to go ahead and let you know that I'm very grateful for this opportunity to be of service to you. And we will only continue to grow. And once we get to the point where we're a force to be reckoned, I guarantee you that we're going to be people. We're going to be the people that people want to be around. So I thank you again. Like, click, and subscribe. And then please, reach out to us about the Silent Man Manifesto so we can send that out to you. And then we'll be introducing new tools. And as well as we've got a store coming up on our website that will also give you the opportunity to earn merchandise. And we are sponsored by a nonprofit. So we look forward to go ahead and being of service. Thank you so much.